Hey squad, I hope you're well. Thank you so much once again for passing by here and just seeing what's going on around here on these streets. Well, for the new people here, thank you so much as well for making it a point to just check out what's happening here. Feel free to join our family, join this squad. We call ourselves the Wellness Squad. So if you want to join the family, it's quite simple. Just have to subscribe to this very channel and yeah, you'll be a part of us, Wellness Squad. So today, allow me to welcome you to a section of my backyard space. As you can see, we are seated right in the plants themselves today, and that's for a reason which you'll be getting to know in a short while. I thought, how about we work on a project together? You and me just get to working on this project and seeing how it comes to fruition, going through the journey, the lessons, yeah, and finding out how best we can get better at our skill. So the project is really one of backyard gardening, and what you can see right behind me here, as I try to show you, is a grape plant. Now please ignore the messy plant right behind there. The messy plant right behind there just grows like wildfire. It's very hard to tame, but it's also very, very important, and we cannot do without it in this home because it has been giving us fruits from as long as I can remember. So it's Cape gooseberry. In Uganda we call them in tuntuno. These are the fruits. I actually was able to harvest a few right before coming to meet you. I hope you can see. Yeah, so we are eating right out of our backyard, and that's one thing we cannot forego. That's why that messy plant is still there. We'll let it just live its lifespan as we continue to enjoy its fruits. Unfortunately, with its messy look, it really grows so quickly and so wild. It's uncontrollable. Anyway, that being said, we're going to be talking about we're going to be looking at our grape plant right here. I think I should cover the back plant, the messy one that we're talking about, so we can actually get to focusing on this one that is our project. So stick around. Let me just get to covering that back plant with a cloth so we can see what this grape plant actually looks like. And I'm hoping we can actually now see the grape plant much more clearly after we have tried to use the cloth to cover up this really untamable Mr. or Mrs. Yeah, so here's our project, and it might just look like any other random grape plant right here, but let me tell you something. This grape plant has a huge story to tell, and I thought this episode or this video could actually be about telling the story about this grape plant, and then maybe by the end of that account, you'll be able to see why we should actually take on this project. Both you and me, help each other take on this project to make sure this grape plant grows and thrives. So here's where it all began. It began 4 years ago. I actually got this grape plant 4 years ago, dating back to, that would be 2016. So what happens is I go to a festival down here in Kampala called Tokosa Food Festival. Now Tokosa Food Festival, Tokosa in its own name means like boil food, like that point when food is actually boiling. So yes, by that name you'd be able to tell that that festival is about food and everything food. So what happens is they have vendors, they have food vendors, they have all types of foods, and they have food activities, food competitions as well. So generally the theme is centered around food, eating and tasting things. So as part of the vendors, I was able to see a backyard gardener. She was selling backyard equipment, backyard seedlings and seeds, and that's where I was able to get this grape plant. I was so excited because that meant I was going to be able to get started on what was one of my dreams, of having a mini orchard in my home when I grew up. So this was one way to start, and I was like, wow. And I start with grapes. Yes, please bring it on. Anyway, so I got the grape plant and I brought it home. When I asked her, do they actually grow in Kampala? Is the climate good for? Is the weather good for them? The climate good for them? She was like, yes, they actually do grow. She has hers as well in her own home. So I was like, yes, this is something that I can actually do. So I brought it home and then I planted it. But at that time, my soil was extremely bad. My soil is not good right now, honestly, but it was way worse that time. Why? Because we had also just demolished a space to be able to get the house set up, and so other buildings actually to be able to get the house set up. So there was, lots more concrete and stones than any soil. So it wasn't an easy start for the grape plant, but anyway, I planted it and decided. I got a little bit of black soil from the neighborhood and I put it around it, hopefully thinking it was going to thrive. And it did not disappoint. It started to bring out more and more leaves. And one thing I noticed with this grape plant is it brings out leaves really quickly if it's looked after. So it kept on bringing out more leaves, and I was like, wow, this is actually growing in my backyard. I think I'm good to go. I think in the next 1 year I might actually be seeing grapes. I was so excited at that point. So yeah, it started growing, and then guess what? We had to bring in a puppy because we needed a dog in the house or in the home. And guess what this puppy came with? The puppy was really cute. The puppy was I remember we named the puppy Wibbles. We don't have it anymore, but it was really cute, it was really nice, and we're thinking, yes, of course every home needs a dog. But guess what it started doing? You know how playful puppies are, they're almost like kittens. So it started to actually pluck off on the leaves of this grape plant. So every morning I'd wake up, there like 5 more leaves plucked off, 5 more leaves plucked off, and it was really difficult to deal with. So I kept trying to chase the dog away and tell it, no, don't come here, don't come here, don't come here, go away, go away, go away, so that it doesn't come to the grape plant area. And then at some point also I noticed as the leaves were growing, they needed a support, so I got someone to put some wooden stands for this grape plant, so it has where to creep on quite easily. And then I walled it around the wooden stands, and it started to grow again really well, and it would always recuperate even after the puppy would pluck off on it. And then at some point the puppy grew, so we were able to keep it chained up and in its kennel, and yeah, that meant my grape plant is also kept safe. And then guess what happened? This is 4 years ago. What happens is our backyard space was so tiny and we needed to get more space, so getting more space meant that we were going to demolish other houses again. So as we demolished other houses, of course that comes again with more stones, more bricks, more disturbances. As they were demolishing, they even cut off some bits of my grape plant because it was so close to the edge where they were demolishing from. So the branches were cut off a bit, stones were thrown at it as well, and also because we were now expanding the backyard space, there was where the grape plant was like right in the middle of the backyard, and we couldn't have it there because it was going to be taking up space for other things, so we needed it to be next to a wall. So I tried to push it as much as I could, and it could only because some of its roots had already gotten into the ground, so it could only move 3 meters away from its original position. But I was happy because at least it was near the wall, as you can see here. So I'm like, yeah, cool, let's go with that, let's try and tame you from there. So as we transferred it again, it survived, it flourished again, brought out leaves, and that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to be really serious this time with you. So I would always try and let it creep on the wall by using strings and also some nails to direct it whenever I would see a new branch forming and leaves forming up, just so that I can lead it to more space where it can actually grow freely. So as I did that, guess what happens? The little one is born. My little one is born, and with the little one comes so much activity, especially after they have learned to walk. So once he learned to walk, this was his new toy, where he would play tug of war anytime he needed. So that meant he was coming and pulling off on the branches. I'd find the leaves are all out, and I keep telling him, please don't get to my grape plant, go and play with other flowers, leave this one. It took a while for him to get the message, because for him this plant just meant enough games for him. So regardless, I tried to stop him and get him to focus on other plants, or get distracted by other plants. And then when I saw he was no longer using this as his favorite toy, I continued to try and direct it to where it was supposed to go, and it still kept growing on the wall. That is, it wasn't where you see it right now. As that is happening, and I'm seeing more and more growth happening for the plant, guess what happens? One day someone is trying to go and clean up the tanks that are a little raised, and they climb the wall. So as they're climbing the wall, the ladder that they were using falls, and guess where it falls? It falls on my grape plant. That meant a huge chunk of my grape plant was destroyed. Actually, the most promising and most leading branch was actually destroyed. So it went like to point, let me not say zero, because you have not yet heard about the zero. It went like to step 1. So it was little again, it looked miserable, it looked sad, torn, and yeah, I was really sad as well. But what to do? I decided, let's keep going still. So I got it, and still tried to direct it again and water it as much as I could. And guess what? It actually kept coming up. So I'm like, this plant, there's something to learn from it. So as it's growing and growing and growing, guess what happens? I thought one day I was having a snack. So I was having these Cape gooseberries that I've showed you today, and tuntunu. So I was having them, and I'm like, but I think I could plant my Cape gooseberries. I researched on them, and I found out they are quite easy to grow, no hassle, and they grow quite quickly. So I thought I could also have Cape gooseberries. After all, everyone in the family likes them. So in my whole I don't want to say landscaping, but whatever I thought was going to be a perfect plan was have one lane of your backyard with fruits and herbs. So since the grape plant had already dictated which lane or which side was going to have the fruits, I said yes. So now next to the grape plant, I will put my Cape gooseberries and let that grow. So I put my Cape gooseberries there. Cape gooseberry started to grow and it actually outgrew my grape plant. But in my head I thought, if I put them together, since they both creep, then they'll support each other somehow and help each other to grow. But boy, was I wrong. Guess what happened? I actually checked this grape plant. I don't know why after so long. I checked on it like after 5 or 6 whole months, to be honest. And because I thought, oh, on the inside it's flourishing and it's growing and they're helping each other, but only to come and check and find out my grape plant was almost at the brink of death. So there was like not even one leaf that I could identify of this grape plant. It was just like stalks, like a stalk of a stick, a dried stalk, that is. That's how the grape plant looked, and it has really tiny stems, so it looked so sad. I actually was very sure that it had died, but it actually hadn't. So shocking. So I decided, you know what, since the gooseberry was actually eating up this one to death's point, let me separate them and then see if by any chance this plant will grow again. It has done it so many times, survived so many things. Maybe this one, okay, not one last time, because I will need for it to keep going no matter what. Maybe this time again it will also grow. So I just, you know, pulled it out, sorted it out of the Cape gooseberry, and then decided to put it on its own, to grow on its own, and then completely pushed back on the Cape gooseberry. That's why you see the Cape gooseberry looks rounded, because I always round it up. It's really huge. It could decide to take, like, you know, a quarter of the backyard space, and I can't have that. So I always round it up, and it still continues to fruit anyway. It's one very resistant plant. So as I was doing that, I started to notice leaves cropping up, and this is just about like 3 weeks ago. Then there was also the blessing of rain that happened. So when the rain started, you know, this plant started to grow, and I saw leaves. So all the leaves you see right here are just 3 weeks old. There's this, there's also on this side, I don't know if you can see some, there's also some down here, and then there's a few branches of leaves as well down here. I was like, wow. So anyway, I feel like this plant is special because it has a lot that it has taught me. It actually has taught me resilience, because it has gone through tremendous amounts of torture, but it still continues to grow, and, you know, keep the hope alive that it can still grow and do what it's meant to do at some point, which is give us those grapefruits. So I feel like it's special because of that. I feel like it has the spirit of, you know, a queen or a king, and you know, that's something I want to relate with. And I thought, if this plant can fight for itself like that, why can't I fight for it as well? Yeah, so that's why I came up, and I thought maybe this could be a project that we could work on. But I need your help naming her, so please give me suggestions of names that you think of. Write down in the comment section of this video, so we can see what best suits our grape plant after hearing her story, and you know, see how we can get her to grow. So after we have gotten a deserving name for our grape plant and our project, I thought, you know, we could just come together and talk about it growing as we see it growing gradually, and take care of it, you know, see how we can get it up and running and give us, you know, those grape plants. Maybe some of you will be able to get some delivered to you, some grapes delivered to you when they're finally here. So here's what I need from you, because this is going to be depending a lot on you guys. I'm a lousy farmer. I'm not proud of it, but I am trying. It's not a very easy thing. I know all the nutrients that come from these foods and everything, but when it comes to the actual farming, my hands are always hot at some point. You know, it needs for you to constantly be around, and I'm learning all those things, but quite slowly, if you ask me. But that being said, still, I know there's always space for improvement, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why I brought this project to you, so it can be ours. Sort of, we're accountable to each other, but also we are, you know, growing and nurturing something right here on this very beautiful channel. Here's what I'll need from you: the name suggestions for our dear grape plant, but also, you know, any advice. We'll be going step by steps together of whatever I get to do to this grape plant to see that it grows. So whatever new things I introduce to it, you'll be in the know of them. You'll be seeing all those videos coming up. So this will be our mini series for our project, but even as I, you know, upload those videos of the new things I'm doing, for it to be able to thrive and grow, how about you also help by, you know, sending in whatever suggestions and ideas and advice on how best to get this grape plant to grow. And you know, if you see me doing something wrong during the videos, feel free to let me know, so, you know, I can correct that. Yeah, let's just grow this plant together. Let's bring it to fruition. Let's enjoy the journey and the lessons. Like I already told you, I've learned one huge lesson already. Okay, it took me 4 years. Not, it can't be already. It took me 4 years to learn the resilience bit, but it was one really great lesson, and I believe there's so much more we can learn, not just for our grape plant, but it'll, you know, cut across to all our backyard gardens and crops that we're trying to grow in our homes. So yeah, let's work on this. What do you think? What do you say? So maybe now I'll tell you a bit about where we are at present. So I've already told you span of about 3 weeks for this whole recovery to happen. And what I recently did was, you know, just get a trellis, you know, this metal stand that you can see, where this plant can actually be able to also creep on, because they really need support. As you can see, the branches are very tiny and weak, and yet they grow really long, so they really need support, and that's why I put this trellis here. That was the latest development that I did, of course after what I told you I did of separating the Cape gooseberry from our grape plant. So yeah, if you have suggestions of what you think we can do next, please put that down also in the comment section, and I'll see you in our next video. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet subscribed, do subscribe. It's noble for you to subscribe on this channel, because we appreciate every single one of those subscribes, and it also makes the channel grow. We're trying to do something productive here. We're trying to do something wellness and something healthy here, so why not let this channel you know, just spread out and grow. Yeah, so until next time, that's been me. It's been awesome having you here. I'm so glad that we are going to get down to a new project together. Otherwise, bye. Leaves. They call it leaves, or